I'm Dr. Christina Conolly, and welcome again to our MCPS video series, Waymaking. Our goal is to help families make their way through many of the emotional challenges we are faced with today. During this time of filming, I wanted to share with our audience that I am recording from my home office. This is why I do not have on a mask today. I have with me today Mr. Sean Kelly, who is an assistant principal at Forest Oak Middle School. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me again, Dr. Conolly. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and be on the Waymaking series.
Thank you. So today we are discussing how restorative justice practices benefit students' social-emotional needs. So my first question is, so what is restorative justice in MCPS?
That's a great question, because restorative justice, really can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. In Montgomery County Public Schools, restorative justice is really a product of our reflection process around both our approaches to discipline as well as our approaches to social emotional learning in children. We have a strong desire in the county to always make sure that we are providing the best possible services for our students. And that includes behavioral health and discipline as well. So when we took a look at our discipline practices throughout the district, we saw room for improvement, and we saw restorative practices as a way that we could reach both our staff and our students and center a more social emotional learning and relationship-based approach to relationships.
All right. So then my next question is, so what are some examples that you have seen in schools when restorative justice and restorative practices have helped students?
Well, first it starts with a well-trained staff. Our staff members are the front lines every day. They're the ones that greet the kids in the morning, and obviously as soon as they get on that bus, to the time they get off that bus again in the afternoon, our MCPS staff members are interacting with the kids throughout their day. So a big part of the restorative justice work in Montgomery County is around staff training and giving them the knowledge and the resources that they need to shift their mindset towards the restorative approach. And more specifically, examples that we see in schools that have been really just beneficial for all those involved: the use of community circles, where we strengthen and deepen our relationships between students and between staff and students within a classroom or within a grade. And then we also have been able to use restorative practices themselves in lieu of sort of the traditional punishment-based, removal-based discipline to bring more positive, supportive outcomes to the work of behavior intervention.
Thank you. And so with that, so then, I'm starting to think of, it sounds like, MCPS has really taken some very exciting steps for restorative justice for this school year. Can you share what they are?
Yeah, so obviously, we have taken the steps to bring a district-wide training model to all staff across the district. But once we establish that knowledge base, that is obviously a very introductory step. What we need now is to actualize that work throughout the school system. Programs like the SUPRE program, where we've been able to stand up a support-based substance use program for first-time high school students interacting with the discipline system around substance use. We've been able to bring conflict resolution to the middle school level, and we've been able to establish the position of a restorative justice coach at all of our middle and high schools, so that there is a building-based position that is being used to not just continue that professional development with their staff around restorative practices, but also to ensure the implementation of restorative practices in the building, as well as monitor the continued use of those practices as we go through years to come. So we can always improve our practices as well.
No, I am really excited to hear about the training, about the coaches. I mean, we all know that, the research in terms of changing student behavior with a suspension just isn't there. But the research on restorative justice and restorative practices continues to grow. And also the work that you're doing with SUPRE with substance use. And trying to really provide a different kind of intervention in order to help them in terms of managing or coping with their substance use. So, it's all really exciting work. I'm so glad that you're able to come on and talk to us and give us a little bit of information about that. And so my last question for you is, do you have any suggestions or feedback for families and students to help them to stay resilient during this time?
Just remember that we're all going through this together. So, if you're having a moment where you feel like someone or something is just not working for you, realize that we've all been through the last year and a half together. And the only thing that's going to get us through the next year and a half and the next year and a half after that is each other. So, we've got to continue to give each other grace and continue to believe in the positive effect of the human spirit.
Oh, absolutely. We got to sit there and work together and be each other because we've all been through something. So, I want to thank you, Sean, for your time to be with us today. And we also want to thank our viewers for joining us for Waymaking. To send us additional questions and topics to discuss on the show, please visit the link on your screen. Also, please go to our YouTube playlist to find additional shows in our series. And please join us next time on MCPS Waymaking.